Hey guys, welcome to the Lebo Lion YouTube channel. My name is Lebo Lion, the voice of marketing, SMME growth strategist, influencer, and speaker. I am basically the person that you talk to if you want to learn how to incorporate marketing or create marketing systems within your business, your company, your brand, anything to do with marketing. I'm your girl. Thank you so much for joining me. And before we start this really fun conversation for today, I want to remind you to click like, comment, subscribe. Let's grow this community, guys. On this channel, we've got so much content, a diverse range of content. If you're seeking motivation, you can watch this from the Lebo Lion show. If you want to learn stories from entrepreneurs who've done it before you, you can watch the stories on the Lebo Lion show. If you want to learn about marketing, all the processes, the strategies, the tools, social media, digital, you can just watch these marketing videos that I do. There's so much to gain from this channel, whether you want to learn or you want to grow or you want to feel motivated or you want to feel pushed or you just want to be in a space with like-minded people who want to disrupt the places that they're in, who want to grow, who want to create value, and who want to be about something positive. This is the channel for that. Today, we're going to be talking about Mihlali's new app. Mihlali has released an app. It's her new baby. It's her business. I think it's her first big business that she's sharing with all of us. And personally, I'm very, very excited, right? I know that there's a lot of negative conversations that happen on social media on a daily basis. And people really tend to undermine influencers. So they'll just say, oh, those dumb, pretty girls who are just doing things because they have sugar daddies or whatever other kind of wild, crazy statements that people make and justifications that they make because they are too afraid to do something. You know, I've always found that when people speak in a hateful way, it's because you're doing something that they're too afraid to do. They envy you or they admire you, but they throw it back at you as an insult because what you're doing scares them, because you have the audacity to be yourself. So I will not entertain any of that negative chatter that's happening on other parts of social media. What I'm going to do is highlight all the good things, and we're going to have a very productive and progressive conversation about this. Firstly, I am pro anybody starting a business. If you have the courage and the resources to start a business, then I applaud you. I'm your biggest fan. You must know that Lebo Lion is behind you, and that's why she does these videos and her podcast, because she wants you to thrive and she doesn't want you to break an arm and a leg, or spend an arm and a leg, actually, because it's not break an arm and a leg, in order to make it happen, especially in startup phase. You know, when you are a startup, you want to be super lean. You don't want to spend a whole lot of money on anything. It doesn't matter what the process is. And so you do need to tap into these free resources that you find online that can help you with the initial stages of your business. So first, I'm just happy for Mihlali because she started a business. And anybody who starts a business is somebody who's saying, I want to take my independence, my freedom into my own hands. And I also want to uplift others whilst I do it, because any organization hires people. And by virtue of hiring people, what you are doing is you're creating employment. And by creating employment, you're putting money into communities. And by putting money into communities, you're building those communities. And you're allowing the people in those communities to have access to things they didn't have access to, or to have access to better quality things than they had access to because they've got the financial means to do it. So this is exciting. I'm so happy for Mihlali, and I'm happy for anybody else who starts a business. If you've started a business recently or you have a business, let me know in the comment section below and I'll go check it out on Instagram. I'm always excited to work with and just amplify existing South African or African businesses, because I feel like we all owe it to each other to lift each other up, and by virtue of doing that, we all succeed. So let me know if you have a business in the comment section below, and don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, share this video with your friends. Let them know that this is the place to be, that the Lebo Lion YouTube page is the place to be. So Mihlali started an app, right? Let's go into this. This app is called Malakyt, and I hope I'm pronouncing it correctly. And basically what this app does is it gives you a registry or access to beauticians across South Africa. So what you can do as a consumer is, if you're looking for a makeup artist or anything around those kinds of services, you just go on the app, you book someone through the app, and then that person comes to your house and they do your face, right? And you pay them through the app. Very basic, very simple to understand app, wonderful, wonderful. I think on paper, this kind of idea seems like a really great idea, right? Because essentially what you're offering the market is convenience. And what you're also doing is you're making it easier for people to access beauticians in one space instead of having to go on Instagram and do a random search trying to look for artists, or all the other crazy ways that we've been looking for makeup artists since. And I can be one person who'll tell you now that finding a makeup artist, especially in South Africa, because I don't know about all the other parts of the world, is so hard. It's so hard. You will spend half the day searching Instagram, calling people, WhatsApping, just trying to find somebody, and then trying to find somebody who's available. And then also trying to get in touch with them because you have to book them through WhatsApp. And the whole process is so complicated. And honestly, it's incredibly unprofessional. And, how they share their rates, all of it for me is messy. So what an app like this does is it streamlines the process. And in streamlining the process, you're making it easier for people to access beauticians and those kinds of services, which actually goes a long way for the market, and it allows people to easily consume the product. When people can easily consume a service or a product, they're more likely to return to buy, and they're more likely to make a purchase quickly because all the information is there. Setting up the process of buying is very easy. All of those things that are needed to facilitate a very quick interaction are present when you use something like an app to facilitate the service or to offer the service. So this is a very, very good idea. And I've seen ideas like this before in the South African market that withered away over time. And I want everyone to understand when we're talking about this and we're having this conversation right now that anything I'm going to say isn't negative. This is me explaining the pros and cons of starting a business through an app, right? And some people find the funding and the means to overcome those challenges, and some people don't. And so we need to understand what's present in the market whenever we decide to embark on different kinds of businesses. So there are lots of pros to what Mihlali has done. She's streamlined the process of booking beauticians. She's created a compact and easy to access marketplace that makes it easy for people to identify credible makeup artists that they can use for events that matter to them. She's also created a situation where the beauticians themselves don't have to manage payments, and where costings of things is transparent, which allows the entire sales and marketing process for beauticians to be better. She's creating more employment because she's created a place where people can actually showcase their services through somebody who's reputable, through somebody who's already got a market who's looking at her. And so she's literally amplifying these makeup artists for free. This is free advertising, essentially. It's free advertising because she's got a big name and she's a reputable figure in the makeup industry. And also, what Mihlali is doing with this app is that she's actually making it easier for people to understand beauty services from a purchasing perspective and a product perspective. So now I understand what it is, and so it's easier for me to actually be interested and curious in the services, so I want to buy them. She's doing a lot of cool things, and most importantly, she's creating convenience for people like me who struggle to find makeup artists every time we have events to go to. And so it's easy. I don't have to go look on Instagram, WhatsApp somebody, all of those crazy things. All I have to do is go on a single app and find the person who fits my needs. And I also think this is a bonus point, that in allowing beauticians to plug into an app like this by offering their services through the app, they're also learning professionalism. They're also learning business processes. They're also learning how to amend their pricing to fit being part of different marketplaces, The best way I can put this kind of app example is, imagine that the services on Malakyt are makeup products like lipstick, a foundation, whatever. And all of these makeup products, they're different brands, different makeup products are all being housed under one store. Let's say like a Starterfits model, where Starterfits will have the same product but from different brands, right? And they'll be competing with price, they'll be competing with positioning, they'll be competing with popularity, and then you will see who people like by how they are rated, by the comments that are there, by how many times they're getting bookings over other people. And so it creates that competition within the industry, and it allows the consumer to have more power in terms of who they buy from, in terms of managing the service experience that they get, because they know that if they don't get a good service experience, they can just report it on the app, and they can also get a refund. And there are all of these beautiful customer service mechanisms that exist when you have something like an app that people can refer to if things don't work the way that they're supposed to. So those are the pros. A lot of good things about having an app, especially for services businesses like this that results in something tangible like a face beat, right? But what are the cons of having an app business? App businesses are incredibly risky, guys. It's very difficult to sell an app because you're asking people to download something and you're recreating a new marketplace. You're actually not recreating, you are creating a new marketplace. You're taking yourself off of social media that has existing audiences and existing buyers and existing everything. And you're saying, I'm going to create my own new community that I own on this app. Wonderful. Concept is great. However, getting people to come onto the app and to stay there and to use it regularly is incredibly difficult. And the mechanisms that are needed for that are incredibly expensive and time consuming. I think the great thing here though is that Mihlali already has an amazingly gigantic community. And so the probability of her being able to get a great minimum viable audience and customer base for that app are very high. You know, if she's got, let's say, 2 million followers and 2,000 people get on that app, that's enough for the app to be a successful app. You know, she doesn't need 1 million people on the app. She doesn't need too many people for the app to succeed. She just needs repeat customers for the app to be something that's actually commercially viable. So that's one of the the drawbacks of having an app, that it's very difficult to get a community to migrate from social media to an app that they have to download on their phone. The marketing comms that are needed for that and the funnels that you need to create for that are really difficult, complicated, and can be very expensive. Another draw card of creating an app like this, where people buy services from the app, is that you as the founder are putting your name on the line. You're putting your reputation on the line. What can happen is that somebody can book on the app, get really bad services, get people who don't pitch, and they won't say that makeup artist didn't pitch. They'll use your name to talk about you on social media and say, Mihlali's app didn't work for me because the service is bad, you know, even though it isn't really Mihlali who's responsible for that bad service, but because it's her name and that's why the person is coming on the app to begin with, they'll blame her if anything goes wrong, right? So that's another draw card from having an app, especially a service-based app, not an app where people are buying products and services, because that's much easier. You can manage the quality control of that. And I think one of the biggest dangers of having a service-based app is, especially in Africa, what I've seen is beauty artists, hair people, etc., people in those kinds of industries, they tend to broker deals with clients, personal deals with clients that take the client off the app. So if I cost $850 on the app, I can give you my services for $600 if you just WhatsApp me. And so basically what the beauticians and hair people, etc., are doing is destroying their own marketplace and killing the competition, because they're only on that app to source new customers. They're not on that app to actually nurture the community and to grow the app, because every new customer that they get, they put them into their own system instead of continuously working with them through that system. And managing those conversations between the beauticians and the customers is very difficult, because Mihlali can't be there at every appointment. She can't be there at every single booking. And so it's hard for her to tell if a client has gone off the grid because they brokered a deal with the makeup artist, or if somebody's just stopped using the app because it doesn't work for them, or, you know, it's very difficult to tell why people are leaving the app when you have a service-based business that is price sensitive. I've seen that in the market, things like beauty, makeup, people will literally pay the person who charges the least. A lot of people are not that discerning in terms of the technique of the makeup artist, or how the makeup artist makes them feel. In this country, especially in South Africa, even if a makeup artist arrives late to the appointment, people don't mind. They're more concerned with how much they are paying. And also that creates an imbalance in the competition in the industry, because quality should be informed also by price. If somebody really does have the quality and the experience, they should be charging more than somebody who doesn't. But that same person is less likely to get a lot of bookings on the app than somebody who's charging a much lower price and doesn't have the experience or the skill. And so when you look at the app, it becomes an imbalanced and unfair representation of who's actually valuable, because the person who's charging less could, just by virtue of price, get a whole lot more customers and better reviews, because people are happy that they're paying a lower price and they don't really understand what a great face beat would be and a bad face beat would be, so they're okay with it. And that's the danger of it, that through that kind of process of not being able to measure value properly, because too many people are valuing price, that a lot of your artists, your beauticians, etc., might lose faith in the platform and might actually not want to use it anymore, because they feel like it doesn't represent their brand, because their brand is actually bigger than the sales figures that are being shown, or the feedback that's being shown on the app. And so it becomes very difficult when you are charging people for services through an app to understand the quality, to understand the dynamics of the results, and it will take a very sophisticated, highly intelligent, well-equipped team to be able to help Mihlali to understand those things, so that her app can be successful, not only for her, but for the beauticians who are actually making the app valuable. So these are the factors that we need to consider as people who want to create apps. It is very important to understand that when you offer a service on an app versus offering a product, you are putting yourself at risk of ruining your reputation, because your reputation is in other people's hands and other people's output. When you sell a product on an app, it's much easier, because you'll usually be selling products that people already know. So for example, let's say you're a Take-A-Lot. You're not selling Take-A-Lot product, you're selling products we already use, and the only difference is that I can buy it online from you instead of having to go to the shop. So you're selling the convenience of buying. You're selling a different marketplace, not necessarily a different product. And when you have a model like that, it's much easier to manage customer expectations, because they already know the product that they're buying. They've already used it most likely. And so they're not going to be mad at you if the product doesn't perform the way it's supposed to. And another thing with apps is that the tech becomes incredibly difficult and complicated as your community grows. And the funny thing, or I guess the difficult thing is, if you get to a point where your tech doesn't meet the rise in the demand and the tech ends up crashing or something like that, you can permanently lose people for, you can permanently lose customers. And that will mean that you have to rebuild the processes of getting new people onto the app. I think for me overall, the value of an app is that it is a marketplace that you own. So if you have the capacity, the resources, and the strategies to really build this thing into something that protects you, that feeds you, that helps you achieve your life objectives, then you're on a great path. But app success isn't something that is very common, especially not on the African continent, where one of our biggest barriers to entry in terms of tech is actually having access to fiber and data that allows us to be on the internet. And so because of that, as an entrepreneur in this country, you have a much smaller market to play with when you're talking tech. Because not everybody, in fact, most people don't have access to the data and the Wi-Fi and the fiber that allows them to be online citizens that purchase online. And because of the unemployment landscape in our country and the educational landscape, a lot of people don't have the capacity. And by capacity, I mean whether it's the financial resources, whether it's the education, whether it's the access to make purchases online. And I think that's also why the WhatsApp model worked really well, because you didn't have to have some kind of online payment thing. The makeup artist just send you their payment details, then you send them the payment and you send them a POP in any way that you want to. So I think those barriers, the barriers to access, the barriers to data, to access to data and the internet, the fact that people can't really afford smartphones and people can't really afford to buy online, also make it challenging for you to grow your app community to the scale that it could have if you were in a different country. So it is a very niche market right now in South Africa, and I think on the African continent, to create luxury apps. I would call this a luxury good, being able to book makeup artists for events and that kind of thing. I think it is very challenging at the moment, but it can get better over time, you know. So these are just things that I'm pointing out for anybody who's thinking about creating an app business in Africa instead of doing the traditional brick and mortar or an online store, which do have different components that make it easier for you to do that instead of an app. I'll also do another video, I think, on the difference between brick and mortar and selling on an online store in Africa and South Africa, so that you can understand why it's been working so well for the new big booming businesses that we have in our country. But overall, I think, you know, from my side, as somebody who's passionate about growing SMEs, passionate about growing startups, and passionate about growing African brands, I say, well done, Mihlali. You are doing an amazing job. The fact that you just had the courage to start for me is everything. And I really hope that there are lots of beauticians watching this and they're hearing me when I say, guys, don't sabotage the markets that people give you. Don't sabotage relationships with your clients by only thinking about money. The money comes when you bring value, and the money comes when you're loyal to the systems that actually nurture and amplify you. So be faithful to the process. If you're going to be on Mihlali's app, do it honestly. If you're going to be on the app, don't take away business from her because you don't understand the bigger picture. There's a bigger picture and it's bigger than you. And if you commit to that bigger picture, you're going to be part of an industry that's paying for your life and your dreams, and you want to do that. You absolutely want to be part of that kind of revolution. And if you don't want to be part of Mihlali, start your own, you know, but understand and respect the system and processes. We need to learn to do that as African people and African entrepreneurs so that we can build strong communities and businesses that actually have a globally competitive edge. This is important. Well, guys, thank you so much for tuning into this video. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, share this with your friends. Let's talk about it. What is it like? What are the realities of starting an app business in South Africa and on the African continent? Do you think Mihlali is going to succeed, or do you think that this is going to be a major and beautiful learning curve for her? Are you somebody who's been considering starting an app business? If you are, let me know in the comment section below and let's talk about it. These are the conversations that we need to have because it allows other people who are coming after us to have the knowledge and the tools that they need in order to not make the same mistakes that we make, or to make better mistakes, or to make, you know, like, let's give each other a chance by just sharing knowledge and sharing our experiences. Once again, don't forget to like, share, subscribe, comment. Let's grow this community. Let's make this platform one of the biggest learning and motivational platforms on the African continent. Guys, if you want to get in touch with me, you know I'm on every single social media platform at Lebo Lion, LION_SA, and it'll be written below. And yeah, let's connect. Look at my threads. I always give great threads about marketing things and digital things and tech things. Or go on my Instagram if you want to see a more personal side of me and the more motivational side of me and the more women empowerment side of me. Let's go on Instagram. Follow our pages. Let's grow this, and let's also connect on LinkedIn. I'm always happy to do that. Let's have these conversations. I love marketing. I'm passionate about it. And I'm passionate about startups and starting brands on the African continent. Let's build this country. Let's build our continent one beautiful brand at a time. Until then, toodles.